Hey viewers, my name's Cara. Welcome to day 6, yes, VLOGST, of Vlogstice 2024. If you're just tuning into this one in the middle, we're doing one video for every letter in Vlogstice. So we've had V, L, O, G, S, and this video is T, which in this case I have decided would stand for Tea and Tarot. That's something I did earlier this year. I've done sort of tea time chat things before. Obviously, I've talked about tarot a lot before on this channel. There's a whole playlist of tarot related videos, but I did a tea and tarot video back in February of 2024 on Leap Day. I thought it would be fun to draw 4 cards, one for each year from now until the next leap year. And I challenged myself to have the interpretations of each of the cards also just be 4 words. So if you want to check out that video, I'll link it in the end screen of this one. But that's what inspired me to do a tea and tarot theme again. So I have my tea, and because I am recording this late at night, it is not a caffeinated tea. This is actually an herbal brew, so not a tea. There's no tea leaf in this. This is a peach herbal tea beverage. And when it comes to the tarot side of things, I am very tired this week. I've mentioned this before, and tired is another word that starts with T. I feel like I'm doing a kids show. But this is a seasonal thing for me that my insomnia really ramps up around this time. I lost someone very important to me around the winter solstice 6 years ago, my grandmother. So this is a personal cycle. We talked about personal cycles and seasons in yesterday's video. This is a personal cycle for me that I know. It's something that happens seasonally. I was not thinking about that when I chose this as the theme for today, so I feel really foggy and not necessarily in the headspace that I like to be in to do tarot readings. So I don't think I'm gonna do what I did in that other video and actually pull cards and read them for the collective, but rather this time we're gonna talk about tarot, and I'm gonna show you some tarot cards. Deciding which ones to even show in this video was also difficult for me because I have a lot of tarot decks, but there's also a lot of decks that I haven't done a lot of work with yet, that I haven't taken a lot of time to get to know yet. And I have previously done a video about how I get to know my decks and that process. That for me can take a long time depending on what the deck is. I'm not going to talk about ones that I don't think I have a decent grasp on, but I also don't want to talk about decks that I've talked a lot about. Like, I do still use the Spacious Tarot a lot. It's the one that I keep on my desk. It's the one that I used in that video back in February for the Leap Day reading. So I didn't want to do that one again. If you want to see a little bit of that deck, again, you'll see that video in the end screen. So this time I've decided to just talk about a couple of decks that I have, that I like, that I do always go back to, and maybe that I want to show off a little bit of the artwork from today. So the first one I have is the Halloween Tarot by Kipling West. This is, as you can see, the front of the box is the World card. This is very much based on a lot of the standard artwork that we are familiar with from the Smith-Waite deck and many other decks historically before that deck. Something I will add, this entire year, one of my local community groups has been getting together online every other week to talk about each card in the major arcana. We started back in February talking about the Fool, and then approximately every other week, sometimes we had to reschedule, but essentially every other week we were going for around the full moon and new moon, or full moon and dark moon. So we finished up in early December. So we're done with that now. We've discussed every card in the major arcana. And something that started coming up for me in the last several cards is that I was noticing, I personally, and I think some of us in general in the group, we tend to refer to artwork that looks like it's inspired by the Rider Smith-Waite deck as being Pamela's art, Pamela Coleman Smith. And on one hand, that makes perfect sense to me because I think a lot of people have her artwork in their minds. And so when we say, well, in Pamela's art, it looks like this, that probably is the one that we're thinking of. I forget exactly what prompted me to do a little bit more searching, but I realized a lot of the artwork that Pamela did was based on earlier tarot decks that already existed, that already had the basic format and symbolism of that card. So Pamela's art might be some of the most well-known, but it was not necessarily the first time that certain symbolism showed up as representing each of these cards. That said, I do find it easiest when I'm looking at a deck that has things that are clearly inspired by that deck's imagery. I do tend to say this was inspired by the Smith-Waite deck, because there are a lot of them, even though in this deck it's all kind of like fun vintage Halloween stylings. You can very much see the similarities. So in this deck, cups are ghosts, pentacles are pumpkins, the swords are bats. Oh, I'll find you one of the wand suit, but I found this one first, and I like this one. Look at how all their little, well, they're not really tails, but the bottoms of the ghosts are intertwined together. I like that card a lot. Also in this deck, this black cat is featured in every single card, so I like that about it too. Here we go. Here's a wands card that is evocative of the imagery that some folks might be familiar with. It is the suit of imps in this deck. So we've got ghosts, bats, imps, and pumpkins. Yeah, I like this deck. So this is what we can just continue to go ahead and call a Smith-Waite inspired deck. The artwork is clearly inspired by that, but it's all like vintage Halloween themed. So I think it's very fun imagery. I like to use this deck a lot for myself, with other people, and I did trim it also. I haven't rounded them off yet, as you can see. Trimmed it years ago and just never got around to doing any more. Before I move on to the next deck I wanted to find you a couple court cards. So there's the King of Pumpkins and the Queen of Ghosts. She also has a pumpkin. And the Seven of Cups is usually one of my favorite cards in a deck, and I do like this one very much. It's got the ghosts kind of dancing in a circle, holding hands, and each one of them has the symbols on them of the things that are usually in the different cups. So very cute if you're into Halloween themed things. The book for that one is by Karin Lee, Karin, and Kipling West is the creator and artist. The other deck I want to talk about is also one where the creator is also the artist, but somebody else collaborated on the book, and that is the Penumbra Tarot by Eris Elizabeth with Ethony. Eris is someone I know. I consider Eris a friend, and that is why I heard about this deck, and also why I believe I pre-ordered it. That's not something that I typically do. I'm not always like really aware of new decks as they're coming out as well, but because of that connection, I knew about this deck. The guidebook is nice and thick. It's got full color illustrations of each of the cards in here with their interpretations. There's information about them written by Ethony, and then there's also notes from Eris about the symbolism of the card and also kind of the process of creating the artwork. Eris is also working on another tarot. I'll put a link to their Instagram in the description. But the cards are beautiful. They have this sort of bronze or copper gilding, metallic. Let's have a little break for tea. I went through and pulled out some cards to show you because otherwise this would take a very long time. So firstly, I want to show you the aces. This is the Ace of Cups, we have the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Torches, and the Ace of Swords. So we have torches instead of wands as the name, swords, cups, and pentacles. For the court cards, instead of pages, we have the element. So I want to show you all four of these. This is the element of swords, the air card, element of torches, the fire card. I love it so much. Element of cups, water. These are just so beautiful. And element of pentacles, earth. Then after the element, we have the agent cards instead of like knights. And these ones I think are all animals or some type of creature, but I've just pulled a couple of them to show you. So there's the Agent of Pentacles and the Agent of Cups. Then we have the Crown of Pentacles. These are all sort of profile. We have the Crown of Torches with a cat. And then on the guidebook, actually, the front of the guidebook is the Crown of Cups, and the back is the Crown of Swords. And then the highest court in each suit is called the Throne. So I've pulled out the Throne of Swords and the Throne of Pentacles. These just both caught my eye as I was flipping through it. Very earthy, very airy. And then I pulled out some of the other ones that I showed you from the Halloween tarot to show you the version in the Penumbra. So here's the Three of Cups in the Penumbra. Very colorful. Here is, okay, I don't think I showed you this one. Maybe I did. The Eight of Swords is a card that comes up for me a lot, and I've had some very significant experiences with it coming up for me. And this artwork is just gorgeous. Really wanted to show you that one. Then we have the Seven of Torches, which I just think is so fun. The variety of it, the colors, the textures. And then I pulled out the Seven of Cups because, as I mentioned, this tends to be one of my favorite cards in a deck. So some of them are a little bit more obviously inspired by the Pamela Coleman Smith style, and others are very much not. Wanted to show you some majors too. So here's the Fool. Very enticing, I think. Come along on this journey. Then we have the Hanged One, sort of an aerial acrobatics. And then here we have the Moon and the Sun, which we saw on the box for the deck. And finally, the World. It's the last major in the Major Arcana. It's the last card that I just discussed with my community because it's the last major. And yeah, we all really love this card. I did also do a video doing a full flip through, unboxing, and my first impressions of looking at that deck. I just checked on my Patreon, and that was posted in March of 2022. So I believe that should also be in my tarot videos playlist here on my channel. And if you want to get a tarot reading from me, or an oracle reading, it doesn't have to be just tarot, I use both, I have a little setup as a shop item on my Ko-fi page. And fun fact, I looked it up, it is Ko-fi. The creators have said it's Ko-fi because it rhymes with no fee. Anyway, there's a link in the description of my videos to my Ko-fi, so that you can send me a tip to support my work if you like the stuff that I do here. But there's also a shop on there, and right now the only item on it is where you can fill out a form and purchase an asynchronous reading from me. Right now they are asynchronous only, which means I will be doing them on my own time. It's not in a live call, and I will be emailing it to you. There's a form for you to fill out to tell me how you want certain things done. For example, if you prefer the description to be in audio so that you can listen to it, or if you prefer it to be in text so that you can read it. I used to do just typed text interpretations. That was really hard to say. I did that about 3 times. Typed text interpretations. But for accessibility, it occurs to me maybe instead of using a screen reader, some people might like to just hear me read it. I have offered live readings in the past where you sign up for a specific time slot and we get on a video call and do your reading. I'm not offering those right now as of the time that this video is being published and posted because I'm still in the process of figuring out a new schedule for me in the new place and everything like that. So right now it's asynchronous only. It's a sliding scale, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. And since this is Vlogstice and we're coming up to the solstice in the holiday season, just do be aware that there's going to be a lot more going on for me in the next few weeks. So I try to have them done within a couple weeks of them coming in, but the holiday season is likely to be a little more busy. So I will be in communication, but grace is appreciated with the timeline during busy times of year. I've done so many other videos about tarot that I feel like anything else I might want to say about it, there's probably already something about it in the playlist. So let's go to the end screen. Thanks very much for watching and or listening to this video. I will see you tomorrow, and until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.